Hello and welcome to the Borealis Experience. I'm your host Aurora and I'm very happy to be spending some time with you today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope the COVID situation is not bugging you too much. I hope you don't feel too lonely. I hope you got things to do. I hope you got friends to talk to, a warm place to stay, and a warm heart to live from. I live in Canada in the Rocky Mountains. It's very, very cold here, and for the last 2 days I didn't have water in my house. Today I came back because the temperatures were at -2 degrees again instead of -30, and I must say I feel like $1,000,000 right now. I was able to take a shower. I don't have to worry about going to the bathroom. I was able to do a laundry. And then I took a chance to paint my fingernails. And I don't have to calculate how much water I want to drink during the day. So a huge stress has been lifted from my shoulders. And yesterday it was pretty interesting to observe my mind because I caught my monkey mind being that judgmental, aggressive bitch again. But now I learned to not let my monkey mind rule my life. For example, I was going for groceries and I don't know, every person that was kind of there minding her or his business triggered me, and I had like thoughts of swearing thoughts in my brain because I was in so much distress with the no water situation, and I just had a shit day because I had to think and feel a lot about my friend who had passed away around this time of year, a couple of years back. So I was just in a very dark place, and sometimes when we are in those places, we take it out on others, and it is not our core, it is not our intention, it is not our nature that is being that judgmental, harsh bitch in that moment. It is our ego. I call it the monkey mind because I just like that word so much. It is your ego that is wounded, that is hurt, that feels triggered, and that reacts to stimulus from the outside. And when you observe your monkey mind, you can very quickly distinguish between your true soul message that you want to put out there in the world and your ego talking. Your ego is usually very judgmental, jealous, very negative and fear-driven. The fear is what drives the ego. On the same, like on the other side, at the same time, I want to say, it wants you to be protected from further pain that happened in the past. So it's not a bad thing, the ego, like you can't live in total ego, like with dissolved ego. You always have your ego close by, and it's good if it's a healthy confidence, if it's a healthy pride. But as soon as it becomes too competitive, and as soon as you keep comparing yourself to others, then you can be sure your ego is at play. And meditation helps you to observe that ego when you sit down at night or in the morning or whenever you wish to. You observe your thoughts, you observe how you reacted in certain situations during your day. And then while you sit there, you can distinguish, was I operating from my heart space or from my ego, from my mind, from my ego, monkey mind space. And then while you observe it, you can distinguish, and then in the future, you can correct it, change it, adapt it. So whatever we observe, whatever we reveal, whatever we bring to light out of the darkness, we can observe in the future and correct. And this is such a beautiful thing to realize, because you don't have to be that victim. You don't have to be that aggressive person. You don't have to be that jealous, insecure person. You can go behind the reason and let go of it and observe yourself every time you fall back into that trigger, every time you feel the need to have a strong opinion that is separating people instead of bringing them together. When you have a judgment about someone, and it is just because of your past experience, it has nothing to do with them, then you can rear back and come back to your true self and know that that little voice that was guiding you for so long can be pushed aside. It can be silenced. You can turn the volume down like you do with your radio when you're driving in your car or wherever you listen to music. So your ego can be very annoying. It can annoy you. Like if you know Eckhart Tolle, he's a spiritual leader that I really look up to, because he was really a couple hours before his suicide. He was like so done with life. He hated everything. He couldn't get out of his sadness, and he was so ready to commit suicide. And then he suddenly heard his voice heard him say, I don't want to live with myself anymore. And in that moment, and for every person it is different, you don't have to be just before a suicide, but for him it was like, wait a second, like, who just said that? I don't want to live with myself anymore. Well, I don't have to be that person anymore. So he realized that he's not his thoughts, he's not his monkey mind, he's not his ego. That thing can be like a broken record and so repetitive, and your thoughts are always around the same subjects, and when you relate to people it's always the same way. Well, you can break out of it, you can make changes, and you can be the most powerful version of yourself once you recognize that you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts they're like a sense. They're like a sense, because whatever happens outside of you, you have an opinion, you have a judgment, you are being reminded to your past, and then you have these thoughts. And these thoughts, in turn, stimulate emotions. Old emotions come up when you have that certain thought, and then you have that feeling in your body, and you don't like that feeling in your body. And then you engage in that habit that you have to make you feel better. Do you see that vicious cycle when we follow our thoughts too much? When you let the monkey mind rule your world instead of your heart? And now you can ask, well, what is acting from the heart space? How can I go back to that? First step is to observe your thoughts, and especially in situations where you feel strong emotions coming up. Of course, if you're encountering the saber-toothed tiger, an extreme fear of survival is being triggered, then you have the uncomfortable emotions and the uncomfortable feeling in your body, and you have to react. But chances are you are living in a city or in the countryside, and you're pretty safe, and you have everything you need: water, food, shelter, friends. And there's situations that bring that feeling out inside of you, but only because it's an old wound that hasn't healed yet. It can be an old memory that makes you feel shitty about yourself, and it still makes you mad, and it brings these thoughts up, these emotions, this physical sensation, and then you have to engage in that stupid habit again that makes you feel better. Now, next time you feel triggered or you feel your monkey mind is ruling, wait and count until 3, until 5, maybe until 10, and see what happens. Because what the ego thinks it can control everything, it can prevent everything, but that, dear love, is not possible. If you go into the life thinking that you can control anything, you are in a very weak spot, because I'd rather you be going out there and thinking that everything is a coincidence, or everything can change in a second and nothing is predictable, because then you can enjoy the moments that last for a little longer. If you think that there's no change and change is preventable, then you make yourself a very hard life. So observe your thoughts and see how you want to react in certain situations, what you want to say. Is it really necessary? Or can you be kind? Can you be compassionate instead of reacting quickly? And I don't mean with others first, I mean with yourself first. And when you can be compassionate with yourself and see, hey, okay, I feel triggered now. I want to react so strongly because I don't like that situation. And you can remember why you feel so triggered and make peace with that thing that annoys you so much. And don't let it suck more energy out of you than necessary. Then you can move on. And next time you might only have to count until 2. And then you know, oh shit, I feel triggered again. My ego is trying to rule again. Let's wait a second and see if we can approach this situation in a more healthy way. I will talk way more about that topic because I'm super passionate about it, and that's one of the things that helped me the most, to sit with my thoughts and to observe my thoughts during the day and to readjust. For now, I think it's enough. I don't want to overwhelm you. You were listening to The Borealis Experience. I'm your host, Aurora, and I would love you to join me on Instagram, because I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this, and you can have a peek into my life. I share lots about my dog and my chickens and my farm life out here, and it'd be lovely to connect. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.